The 7 instant turnoffs that make people judge you in seconds. Can I avoid them all? There are moments in our lives when we meet someone new and within seconds, we can make a judgment about them. It might be unfair, but it's just how our brains work. We make these snap decisions based on a few seconds of interaction, and it can be really hard to change that first impression. Today, we're going to talk about the things that can turn people off instantly, making them judge us before we even have a chance to show them who we really are. When we meet someone new, we want to make a good impression, but sometimes, without even realizing it, we can do things that have the opposite effect. We might say something awkward, or our body language might give off the wrong vibe, and before we know it, the other person has already formed an opinion about us. The truth is, making a good first impression is a real challenge, and it's not just about being charming or charismatic, it's about avoiding those little things that can instantly turn people off. So do you see, we're all human and we're all prone to making mistakes, but the key is to be aware of those mistakes and make an effort to correct them. When we're not mindful of our behavior, we can come across as arrogant or lazy or even just plain boring, and that's when people start to judge us. It's not about being perfect, it's about being self-aware and making an effort to improve. We've all been there. We meet someone new, and within seconds, we can tell if we're going to get along or not. It's like our brains, where we're wired to detect certain behaviors that just don't sit well with us. And once we detect those behaviors, it's hard to shake off that initial impression. So what are these instant turn-offs that can make people judge us in seconds? Let's dive in and find out. So the first turn-off is not maintaining eye contact. When you're talking to someone and you can't seem to hold your gaze, not confident, or you're hiding something. The second turn-off is fidgeting. When you're constantly tapping your feet or playing with your hair, it's distracting and gives the impression that you're not interested in the conversation. The third turn-off is interrupting. When you constantly cut people off to mid-sentence, it's rude and gives the impression that you're not listening, and the list goes on. The fourth turn-off is using overly complex language, which can come across as pretentious. The fifth turn-off is lying. Even little white lies can be detected, and once people catch you in a lie, it's hard to regain their trust. The sixth turn-off is being negative. When you constantly complain or talk about negative things, it's draining, and people tend to avoid you. And finally, the seventh turn-off is being arrogant. When you come across as superior or entitled, it's just plain annoying. Out of all these turn-offs, I think the most significant one is interrupting. When you interrupt someone, you're not only showing disrespect, unrespect, but you're also showing that you're not interested in what they have to say. It's such a simple thing to avoid, but it can make all the difference in how people perceive you. Imagine being in a conversation and the other person is constantly cutting you off. It's frustrating, right? So be mindful of when you're talking to someone, and make sure to let them finish their sentences. So there you have it, the 7 instant turn-offs that can make people might judge you in seconds. Being aware of these behaviors is the first step to avoiding them, and once you make an effort to correct them, you'll see a huge difference in how people respond to you. Recap time: the 7 instant turn-offs are not maintaining eye contact, fidgeting, interrupting, using overly complex language, lying, being negative, and being arrogant. Remember, being self-aware is key, and once you're mindful of these behaviors, you can avoid them and make a better impression. Oh, thanks for watching, guys. If you've ever had an experience with someone who had an instant turn-off, share it with me in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about improving your social skills, check out my video on